Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Cancer Coach Talks. I'm your host, Leslie Nance, and tonight we are going to be discussing three things that you should never ask your oncologist. And I know that that's like, what? What could those three things possibly be? So I'm going to share those with you tonight. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thank you for being here live tonight. If you're watching this live, if you're watching this on replay, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this from my website, wherever you're watching from, thank you so much for being here. Let me introduce myself super fast. My name is Leslie Nance, certified holistic nutritionist, a certified holistic cancer coach, 7-year cancer survivor as of October this year, 7 years. Yay. And breast cancer, by the way. And have dedicated my professional life and my professional career to helping those of you out there that are interested in making your body an inhospitable environment through diet, through mindset, through spirituality. And it is super awesome to be here with you guys. So I do these particular trainings on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Central Time. Gail is saying help, but I'm not sure why. 6 p.m. Central Time. And you can join live from my Facebook page. Hopefully we have sound, and that's not why we're saying help. So let me just go. I hate to do this, but let's just go make super sure that I am indeed live and that we indeed do have sound. So let me go check that. I know. I've had too many mess ups in these live streams, and this is actually a new program for me. So I just want to make super clear. Let me just pop this on. Yep. Okay. Awesome. All good. All right. All right. So we're going to, oh, I was like, help. Why you need help, Gail? That's very funny. So if you have not already, please share out. Hi, Ann. It's good to see you. Hi, Chesty. Hi, Anne-Marie. Hello, everybody. Thank you, everybody that left comments leading up to this. So, okay, that's so funny. So yes, we're all good to go here. And thank you for everybody that is here live tonight. And again, wherever you're watching me from, thank you for joining in. This conversation tonight was spurred. By the way, you can find out more at anystagecancer.com, anystagecancer.com. That's my website, or here on the Facebook page, which I share a lot of information. So, and if you're joining us, please say hello. That's the only way that I know that you are here. I can see that there are people here, but I only know who's here by you leaving a comment. So thank you for all the likes and all the shares and all the comments, by the way. The more you do that, the more you like, the more you share, the more you comment, the more people that Facebook shows this kind of stuff to. So that would be awesome. So thank you for that. Hi, Kimberly. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Okay. So this conversation tonight was spurred by an email that I got. I get an email from a place called Medical News Today. And in Medical News Today, they always have like cancer news, like new news about cancer or whatever. And so I love to read these articles, but this particular one really stood out to me, and I'm going to share it with you. So let me just add it here. So it was a press release that came out, and this is about research. This isn't about a study. This is about a research that was recently done from doctors who are in Portugal. And they were talking about how to speak with their patients about what is happening to them, and especially their late stage breast cancer patients. And really what the most important thing, which by the way, I love that doctors are talking about this. I actually do coaching with doctors about how to talk to their patients to instill hope and not instill so much fear when they're diagnosed with cancer. But this particular press release came out. And one of the things that I thought that was so critical about it is in that first line where it says doctors who give advanced breast cancer patients just one estimate, meaning just saying, this is what we think is going to happen to you, such as you have 12 months to live, or an average amount of time that they're expected to live, are only accurate 20 to 30% of the time, according to Dr. Kelly here, or Kylie, excuse me, medical oncologist and senior research for the University of Sydney, Australia. So what they're saying here is that when you talk to your physician and you say, how long do I have to live? And they give you an estimate, then one, you are forcing that information out of them. Two, they're giving you information that may or may not be correct, less likely correct than correct. And three, it sends you into a tailspin. If they said you have 10 years to live, you'd be like, do I only have 10 years? Right? Because anytime that we quantify the amount of time that we might or might not live, it spurs a reaction in us. And so this spurred a quick video from me, and then spurred me to think about more about things that we should not be asking our doctors. So tonight I want to share 3 things with you that I firmly believe that you should never ask your oncologist, right? Anna saying, yes, it did, right? So these are 3 things that I firmly believe that should be at the top of your list that you never, ever, ever ask your oncologist. And the first one, as you might imagine, is how long do I have to live? Your doctor doesn't know. They are basing it on statistics. They are basing it on a research that says, based on how much, your age, your type of cancer, blah, 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 blah. You're just thrown into a bunch of statistics. And the research is showing that they're only 20 to 30% accurate. Now, let me tell you that if you can keep in your mind that this is not going to kill you, that this is not going to be the thing that causes your death, you are going to stand a much better chance than asking your doctor, how long do I have to live? So this question comes in many forms. Let's be crystal clear about this. It comes in, how long do I have to live? How bad is it? Right? You can ask your doctor 100,000 questions. This is not one that you should ask. One, you are forcing your doctor's hand. You are forcing them to come up with an answer. You're forcing them to say something. And they don't know, because guess what? They're not God. And they cannot predict the future. And they do not have a crystal ball. And they don't have the book of life with your date on it when you're going to die. None of that is true. I used to have a pastor that said, every single one of us has a date on a calendar somewhere. And this is how he looked at it, right? This is how he looked at it, that everybody had a date on the calendar. And on that day, you were going to die. And this is just a theory, by the way. This is his visualization of what happens. But on that day, you were going to die. And there wasn't going to be anything that could stop that process on that day. And if it's not your day to die, it's not your day to die. Not cancer, not getting hit by a freight train, not drinking poison. It's not your day. But what you're doing when you ask your doctor that, you're asking him to pull out his crystal ball based on these statistics and tell you how long you have to live. And he cannot do that, or they cannot do that accurately. Don't ask the question. I know, trust me, I have had cancer. I know how tempting it is to ask this question. I know that everything inside of you. Hi, Martha. It's good to see you. Hi, Anne-Marie. Thank you guys. Hi, Kimberly. Thank you guys for being here. I know that everything inside of you wants to ask that question because you respect that doctor as an authority figure. But if he tells you that you have 6 months, how many people know of someone or know someone personally that was told that they have 6 months to live and they only made it 6 months? And we go, oh, that doctor was so smart and so accurate. No, that doctor impregnated that person's mindset with this is what's going to happen to you. And so therefore it happened. You don't know how long you're going to live. I don't know how long I'm going to live. My dog doesn't know. Your doctor doesn't know how long he's going to live. Nobody knows. But we're so tempted to ask that question. You are so much better off by never asking that question. So some of you may be going, holy crap, I asked that question, right? And you're feeling all guilty about it. Don't feel guilty about it. Just realize now, hindsight being 2020, that your doctor does not have a crystal ball. And P.S., if you're one of these women in here right now that's working with me, you are beating the average. So they're taking lowest common denominator. They're taking the person that's not paying any attention to their health, any attention to what they're doing in their life. They are just letting cancer run the show and they're sitting back and letting it happen. But if you're working with me, this is to my people, you know who you are. If you're working with me, you should know that you are beating the odds just by paying attention to your health. You are not that lowest common denominator that doctor is talking about when he tells you how long that you might have to live. Plus, they don't know. They don't know. Neither do you. Neither does anybody else. Right? Look at Anna saying, so hard to get rid of that thought in my mind. You are so right. It is very difficult. I asked that question. Everybody ask it. How long do I have to live? My doctor said, based on the statistics, based on the aggressiveness of your cancer, a good healthy life, probably 3 to 5 years. It's been 7. And I'm healthier than I've ever been in my entire life. It's been 7 years. They don't know. I did not fit into that lowest common denominator. I was way ahead of that curve because I was paying attention to what I was doing to my body. I was being mindful of what I was putting into my body and how I was treating it and how I was making it an anti-cancer environment. So that new study says that in advanced breast cancer patients, that they are only 20 to 30% accurate. I'm sorry, but that's not enough for me. Is that enough for you guys? I can't imagine that anybody here that's enough for you to put your mind through that process, right? I love it. Anne-Marie is saying, it is difficult. It is difficult. Anne-Marie is saying, my doctor said she has no crystal ball, right? Good for your doctor. Good for your doctor. She doesn't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you how long you're going to live. And that's what I coach doctors on saying. When somebody presses me for how long I have to live, say statistically what it is, but then also follow that up with, but I don't have a crystal ball. There are people out there daily beating the odds. I beat the odds. I'm one of those people. Supposedly, I'm supposed to have cancer all over my body right now. I don't have any cancer. As of a scan in October, I am completely cancer-free. I don't know. I know I'm not an oddball. I know there are others of you here that have done the same thing in your life. All right, number 2, moving on. Number 2, something you should never say or ask your oncologist. What should I change in my diet? Or what food or supplements should I be adding? Now, when I said this to my husband, because we were talking at dinner, and he's like, well, let me see if I can guess the 3 things. And I said, okay. And so he guessed how long do I have to live, like straight up, like he got that one right off. And so he went with a couple other guesses and he was like, I don't know what the other 2 are. And so I told him. And when I said right? Anne-Marie beat the odds with ovarian cancer. Absolutely. Absolutely, you did. I love that, Anne-Marie. Thank you for sharing that with us. And you're going to beat these odds too. What should I change in my diet? What food are, and he's like, why wouldn't you should totally be asking your doctor that. And I said, no, you shouldn't. He said, why? The reason is because your doctor is a cancer technician. Your oncologist is there to kill cancer cells with medical practices. So surgery, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, immunotherapy. They don't know anything about killing cancer. Most of them, some of them do nowadays, but very few of them know anything about killing cancer cells, are fortifying the body, are making the body an inhospitable environment to cancer with nutrition. Now, sometimes the body is so overwhelmed that we do need medical interventions. Sometimes we do need some medical interventions, and thank goodness we have it. For some people, it saved their lives. For others, not so much. But I've said this before, you've heard me say this before, I'll say it again. I've never known anybody that got sicker eating more broccoli. But I've known plenty of people that have healed their body, paying attention and being mindful of their nutrition and their mindset and their spirituality. I've known plenty of those people. But I never knew anybody that made their cancer worse, for sure. Your doctor has little to no nutrition training. When your doctor went to doctoring school, to medical school, I have nothing against doctors, by the way, just so you know. I work with oncologists throughout this country. I have nothing against them. But when they went to medical school, they got between 7 and 9 hours of nutrition in all of their medical school. That's how much they got. And any of you that have been to college or have been to advanced studies like this to get a master's or a doctorate degree, you know that that's nothing. It's like having a bucket of water with 2 drips in it. Those 2 drips are the nutrition information in that whole bucket that your doctor got. So when you ask your doctor, what should I change in my diet? What supplements should I be taking? They're going to say, you don't have to change anything. Just eat what you want. Or they're going to say, oh, supplements are not a good thing if you're going to do, this type of treatment, blah, 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 blah. Because they don't know. They have no idea. Now, I will say, since I have been a cancer coach over this past 5 years, that more and more doctors are paying attention to nutrition and the value of nutrition when you're going through treatments so that you keep the host or the person with cancer healthy, and so that the treatments are way less destructive in the body. And that's how I help people. But some of you have been to a medical nutritionist. You've been to a nutritionist within your hospital system, and they're like passing out Ensure. And they're talking about, well, have a milkshake, just anything, just eat anything. No. Now, I think that food is the end all, be all, cure all to what ails you? No, I do not. There are a lot of pieces to this puzzle. Is it an important part? Absolutely. It's why I'm a certified holistic nutritionist, because I know the value of eating well. I understand how food works in the body and how valuable it is to us. But is it the end all be all? No. It isn't. Is it valuable? Absolutely. Is it an asset in your journey? 100%ly. Yes. Absolutely. Eating for your health during treatments is so important to keep your healthy cellular activity functioning at a higher level, because your healthy cells are taking a bombardment, especially if you're doing something like chemotherapy or radiotherapy or even immunotherapy. Your your healthy cellular activity is taking a bombardment. It's taking on a load of toxins in big doses. And so everybody benefits from having a regimen designed, a nutritional regimen that is designed for your particular type of treatment. And it depends on the treatment. It depends on how well you're eating. It depends on so many things. There are so many things that go into a factor. In fact, I was just talking with a client this morning, and I had her on a a prescription diet that we were working on. And this morning she's like, I cannot eat this. And so we're tweaking it. I'm working on tweaking it right now. I have to do some work to it because it's not, so many things go into making a diet for cancer work for you. It's not just about don't eat these foods, eat these foods, ditch the sugar, ditch the meat, which is what I should do a show about that. That's what everybody says, that everybody I talk to is like, well, I've ditched sugar and I've ditched meat. And I'm like, okay, well, what else are you doing? I mean, that's not enough. Just ditching sugar and just ditching meat is not enough. And sometimes it's not even necessary, believe it or not. And so, or I've cut carbs. That's another favorite thing that people say. And so, but so we're tweaking that diet right now because it's important that she has things where she feels not only physically nourished, right, but also mentally nourished, that she's enjoying the food that she wants to eat, especially when we're under stressful conditions, because most people are one of two people. The type of stress that cancer usually brings up in our bodies is the type of stress that makes us not want to eat. There are other types of stress that make us want to eat, like we're like, oh, I just want a donut right now, but typically the type of stress reaction that we have in the body, in the physical body, from the mind and from the emotional body, is a type of stress that we don't want to eat. And so, so we don't want to promote that either. So it needs a lot of tweaking. And so it's not just so cut and dry as eat these things, don't eat these things. So don't ask your doctor about what you should be eating. They don't know. They're going to tell you to eat what you want, or they're going to tell you, well, you need to cut carbs and you need to cut meat and you need to cut sugar. Those are like the three favorite things that they say. Stop drinking soda, stop smoking, drink more water, right? Duh. Sorry, I shouldn't say it like that. Maybe that's not a duh to some of you, but for most of you that follow me, that's a big duh. So yes. The third thing that you should never ask your oncologist is, can I get a second opinion? First of all, you don't need to ask your oncologist if you can get a second opinion. You just go get yourself a second opinion. If you feel like you need a second opinion, that means that your subconscious mind is telling you that something's not right. It's not a figment of your imagination. It's not you being super careful or super cautious. I can't think of anything better than to be super cautious and super careful with this vessel that we live in. Go get a second opinion. You don't need that doctor's opinion. You don't need that doctor's permission to do that. You just go get yourself you call your insurance company and say, hey, I have been given a diagnosis and I would like to get a second opinion. I wish it was that simple, Kenneth. There's a link in the Real Answers About Your Cancer. I'll put it here too, a talk about sugar that I did, that I talk about sugar and actually what it does in the body. Let me just quickly say that a lot of sugar is no good for our body, but not for the reasons that a lot of people want you to believe. So yes, so you do not need to ask permission to get a second opinion. You just go get yourself a second opinion. Do you know how many people I talk to that are worried about offending their doctor? What? You have cancer. Who cares? Some people fear retribution. In my free training that I do, 5 things to become the boss of your cancer, people fear retribution from their doctor. Well, if you're fearing retribution from your doctor for getting a second opinion, then you need a new doctor anyway. Bottom line. If you're afraid of your doctor or intimidated by your doctor, you need a new doctor anyway. So scratch that one and go get yourself another one. I fired 3 doctors and a physician assistant in my journey. The first oncologist that I ever met with, she did this thing, and some of you have seen this before, but it's worth repeating. She did this thing. Let me grab a piece of paper. She did this thing where she took out her little notebook. She took out her little thing, her little whatever you want to call it, like her little notepad or whatever. Hold on, let me get something to write on here. She took out her little notepad and she's like, and because I was asking her, I said, well, because she was recommending, I had never heard chemotherapy until my first appointment with this doctor. And so I meet with her and she's like, well, you know, I'm recommending, you know, chemotherapy for your type of cancer. It's very aggressive, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, really? And I said, well, I don't understand the tumor is out of my body. Why would I have chemotherapy? And she does this. And she says, well, let me show you what could happen in your body with the type of cancer you have. So she draws this. This is going to be, I'm a terrible drawer. But she draws this little thing like this, and she puts 2 boobs on it like this. Okay. And she's like, so this is you, and you know, this is your left breast, and your tumor was right here. That's the primary tumor site that we removed out. And she said, well, you know, so we've removed that out, but what could happen? And she starts doing this. Cancer, let me draw a body here. Oh, look how skinny I am. Okay, sorry. Cancer can show up in all of these places, you know, and she's just drawing. She just keeps drawing like I have the freaking measles or something. And she's like, and so the chemotherapy will go in, and if there's any cancerous cells, microscopic cancer cells that are in these areas, then it will, and then she starts Xing them out. It will wipe them out. Just magically like that? And I looked at my husband and I looked at her and I said, okay, thank you so much for your opinion. And I picked up my purse. I already had my clothes back on by then. I picked up my purse and I started walking out the door, and she said, well, so when do you want to schedule this test and that test and your next appointment? I said, I won't be. She was like, what? I said, I won't be. And she's like, well, but this is what I would recommend for anybody in your situation. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm going to go find it. I'm going to go find somebody else to help me. And I left that appointment and I never went back there again. And I'm walking out, and the young man, he was so sweet at the front desk. He was like, do you need to schedule your next appointment? I was like, no, but thank you very much. And he's like, oh. So that doctor and that type of mindset and that kind of fear factor and the things that she was saying to me just was not jiving. And it wasn't denial. It was my gut growling at me. It was my gut going, you don't like this woman. And so I had to listen to myself. I've always been very good at that anyway, just naturally. And so picked up my stuff and I went out, and then I sat in my car and with my husband, and this was New Year's Eve, 2012. And I sat in my car and cried like a baby for about 45 minutes. I felt so out of control, and she made me feel so bad about what was happening to me. So found myself another oncologist, amazing woman who listened to me, who sympathized with me. When I told her I didn't want to do chemo, she's like, okay, if you're not going to do chemo, what are you going to do? And I said, what do you mean? And she's like, well, your body created cancer. You need to figure out what you're going to do. If you're going to treat this naturally, you need to figure out what that means to you. And I'm like, okay. She put me on a path. She showed me, she gave me hope. She gave me direction. That is the kind of doctor you need. Had I stuck with that other doctor, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today. I would be dead. And I know I would have been. I would have never made it through all those things that she was recommending. My mindset would not allow me. My heart would not allow me to do that. So I had to find somebody that reflected who I was, reflected and listened to me. And Dr. Regina Brown was my girl. She was amazing. She was amazing. We actually became really good friends. Amazing. That's right, Babette. Total cancer boss. I was a cancer boss in training. I didn't even know what that meant, but I was a cancer boss in training. So just some quick tips on, I see there's some questions here about asking for, a second opinion or getting a second opinion. Anne-Marie is saying, totally switch doctors and hospitals. I love it. Right? I love it. Anne is asking, how do I approach the idea of having my oncologist consult with a larger Texas center? You just tell them that's what you want. You don't ask, you tell them, this is what I'm doing. Are you on board? Right? Martha is saying, oh my gosh, so many of you. Martha has been told many times, this is what I would recommend for my mother or my sister. How many times, Martha, did I hear that? That is like the favorite. And that's if I had a fourth question, that's probably the fourth question I would say, never ask your doctor, is what would you do if it were you? Because they won't tell you. They would say, well, if you were my mother, my sister, my best friend, blah, 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 I would tell them. That is just like, they're like taught that in medical school. They're like taught. And I have been trying to untrain that with the doctors that I work with for so long, because how much more empowering would it be for them to say, I can't tell you what I would do in your situation because I have never been in your situation. All I can tell you is what I'm recommending, and it's up to you to make that decision. How much more empowering would that be? How much more respect would you have in that moment? I just had that happen to me. I was having scans and they were pressing me to do a mammogram. And I know that mammograms are useless for me. And the doctor actually admitted that after the ultrasound. They are completely useless for me because my breasts are so dense. And that she tried to pull that on me in the mammogram machine room. And she's like, well, if you were my sister or my mother or my friend, I would highly recommend that you do this mammography. And I was like, well, I'm not, so I'm not. Right? So let me give you a couple of tips. If you're thinking of going outside, or you're thinking about getting a second opinion, or you think you need a second opinion, your gut is like pulling at you. I had 3 opinions, by the way, actually 4, if you want to count pathology, about my cancer. So just saying, 2 of them I had to pay for out of pocket, but we're talking about your life here. I'm going to find a way to heal no matter what it costs. One test cost me like $6,000. My insurance wouldn't pay for it. It cost me one test. And it was still conflicting. I mean, it's your health. It's your life in some cases. Pull out the big guns. Figure out how you're going to afford it. Start a GoFundMe. Get new credit cards. I don't care. It's your life. Money's replaceable. Your health is not. Bottom line. Okay, sorry, got on a tangent there. So if you're going to get a second opinion, go outside of your facility that you're in currently. Now, what this means is if you do that, they're probably going to want to run all the tests that have already been run. This also means that you're probably going to be some money out of pocket. Stop being afraid of something that's replaceable. So you have to pull some money out of your 401k. So you have to spend some money that you were waiting to spend on vacation. So you need to sell something to pay for something. Do it. But go outside your current facility. You probably need a whole new practice, a whole new doctor practice facility, group, whatever they call it in where you're at, hospital, patient care facility, whatever they call it. You need to go outside of that. Because if you don't, these doctors have a tumor. They're called tumor boards. Some of you have heard this before. It's called a tumor board. And tumor boards are designed for the doctors and they make it sound all fancy and like it's to your advantage, but they all get together and they go through your file and they talk about what is happening to you. And by the way, they're not going like, oh, and that Nancy is just the nicest lady. She's just the sweetest woman. And, I really want the best for her. So let's find out what the best decision is for her. That's not what they're doing. They're like, patient number 647, 647 has blah, blah, blah type cancer. She's female. She's this age. This is what's being recommended. They kick it around the table, move on to the next person. It's not all heartfelt and gushy like they make it sound. So, but if you stay within your system, if you stay within like the group of doctors that you're working with or the facility, that chances are they're just going to all gang up on you and go, yep, that's what it is. I agree with Dr. So-and-so. It's best to go completely outside that facility and get a whole new, fresh perspective of what is happening to you. Now, the chances are that they're going to tell you the same thing that the other doctors tell you, but that's what you were looking for, right? You were looking for a confirmation. You were looking for something to say, yes, this is what this is, and this is what needs to be done. Or you might hear something completely different and hear, gosh, this is not the case at all, and here's what we're recommending. And then in some cases, that requires a third opinion. Hello, Leslie. Hello, Leslie. That's what happened to me. So, but it's your life. You are worth it. You are worth the effort. You are worth the money. You are worth the hassle. You are worth every single bit of it. And if you don't feel like you are, then something is wrong up here. And no doctor is going to be able to fix that. Do you catch my drift? Do you catch what I'm throwing down? I cannot tell you the number of times that somebody has hired a new team to work with and just progressed, getting better and better and better and better and better and better. Anne-Marie, will you let me know if it's okay for me just to share a smidge of your story? I know you shared a couple of it here. But if we just type in a yes, because I think you have a really good example that has just happened to you. So let me know. Terrence, late again. Hi, Terrence. It's good to see you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Eileen is saying 3 tumor boards wanted me to have surgery. Yeah. There you go, Eileen. I guess $900 isn't bad for the 30 pills to try the new treatment. If you believe in that treatment, it certainly is not. Delivery. Okay. So Anne-Marie is one of my mentor clients. She's actually she's been through the regular program and now she's in mentorship. And Anne-Marie just switched doctors and she said something to me this week in our meeting that I thought was very poignant. And we were talking about, her meeting and what they said and everything. And some of it, she was slightly concerned about some of their things that they were recommending. but she said something to me that meant she was in the right place, that she was with the right team now. And she said, it was like going home. I was so comfortable and I felt so cared for and I felt so heard by this team of professionals that I know that I made the right choice. Now, in that one little switch that Anne Marie made, actually, it was a huge switch. She had to jump through hoops to get that switch. But in that one switch that Anne Marie's here with us tonight, in that one switch, Anne Marie very well could have saved her own life. In that one decision, being brave enough. And trust me, this was not a decision that was taken lightly. This was a series of decisions that led to that discovery of needing a new team. And now they have her on a treatment path, and now they have given her, realistic prognoses and goals and things that she knows to work towards. And it's been incredibly valuable for me. I know that it saved my life. When I got rid of the measles doctor. You have to, if you're just joining, you have to go back and watch that part of that. When I got rid of the crazy dot lady, I know that I saved my life in that moment. I know that it was the right decision, and I knew it when I left out. I never had any doubt whatsoever. So here they are in order. 3 things to never ask your oncologist. Quick review. How long do I have to live? How bad is it? That's number 1. How bad is it? How long do I have to live? Do not accept that doctor's opinion of crystal balling what is going to happen to you. Number 2, what should I change in my diet? What supplements should I add? What can I do in that part of my life? They don't know. They will tell you to eat what you want. Most doctors, it's changing a little bit, but most doctors will tell you, I don't know, or they won't say, I don't know, just eat what you want. Eat whatever tastes good. Eat what you can. BS. Find somebody who can help you. Medical nutritionists are in cahoots. If it's part of your doctor system, if it's part of the medical system, they're in cahoots with that. So they're just going to say, they're going to give you Ensure and tell you to drink milkshakes and, eat a hamburger if you want it. I could not believe I had a list come to me from a medical nutritionist. I actually ended up having a conversation with this woman from a medical nutritionist for a client of mine that was doing chemotherapy, and it had things like Ensure and, drink milkshakes if you can't drink anything else, if you can't eat anything else. And I'm like, what about smoothies? I mean, wouldn't you recommend like a whole food smoothie? Wouldn't that be better than a milkshake? I mean, actually getting some nutrients in the body instead of empty calories. And she's like, well, yes, but a lot of our patients don't have blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, tell them to get that stuff. What? Crazy. So don't ever ask your doctor. They don't know. They got this much training. They got 2 drops and a giant bucket of nutrition in all of their medical training. They don't know. Number 3, can I get a second opinion? You don't need their permission. If you think that you need a second opinion, if you don't believe what they're telling you, if you're in doubt, that is not the cancer talking, by the way. That is your gut. This is your chakra right here in your solar plexus that is telling you, it's that brain that is telling you that you need a second opinion and you need to learn to trust it. Go get one. You don't need your doctor's permission. Right? Anne. I got Anne's and Anne Marie's, and Anne fired her first oncologist. Fired him right away. Best thing she ever did. Saved her life. And I know, Anne, that you firing that doctor definitely saved your life. 100%. Right? All right, guys. That's it. I'm way over time again. My goodness. I just get so excited that I can't shut up. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on the Cancer Coach Docs. I will be back next Tuesday. I already have a topic. right? Can you believe it? Can you believe I already have a topic? The topic is going to be, right? Why are you so interested in other people's cancer stories and why their stories are holding you back in your healing? What? I know. I'm so excited to talk about this mindset shift. We're going to talk about that next Tuesday on the Cancer Coach Talks. It is great to be here with you guys. I hope you enjoyed tonight. If you have any questions or comments and you're watching this in replay or after you go back and rewatch it, make sure that, thank you, Kimberly. Make sure that you leave us a comment there, and I'll be happy to answer that for you. Kimberly, thank you for reminding me. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Let me just give you one tiny little tip for Thanksgiving. If you're spending time with your family and friends this Thanksgiving, this holiday, if you're volunteering, whatever it is, make sure that you are looking people in their eyes. The value of making eye contact directly with somebody and smiling at them, and then even going as far to say, thank you so much for spending your day with me today. I am so honored to be a part of this today with you. I'm so grateful to be spending my day and my time with you, you know. And then I watched Tom Hanks this afternoon on the Ellen show, and he said something that I thought was very amazing. And he was talking about how, this new character that he's playing, Mr. Rogers, in this movie, about Mr. Rogers. And he said one of Mr. Rogers' biggest talents was listening. And and he said he had an acronym for it, and it was WAIT. Why am I talking? Meaning I should be listening. I shouldn't be talking. So don't forget to do that. Take a break from cancer this Thanksgiving, this holiday. Enjoy your day with your family and friends. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I am so thankful for each one of you in my life, and thankful that we have time like this together every Tuesday night. Love you guys so much. I will see you next Tuesday. Bye, everybody. Bye.